Welcome back to another episode of the Parisi podcast. I am still on site in Parisi, Vermont. Parisi Speed School, Retro Warrior Training, located in Essex, Vermont, with the owner, a dear friend, former client, dear friend, Antonio Federico. This is our second episode. We are together today. We're banging them out.
Hell yeah.
Are you ready for the next one? Which, quick aside, if you want to know more about Antonio, he was an early guest. I think you were episode 5 or 6.
Yeah, it was early.
Something like that. I should know 5 or 6, but I will link Antonio's episodes in the show notes. You should go back if you want to hear more about Antonio's story, how he became the owner of the Parisi location in the great state of Vermont. Shout out to all the Northeast locations. I think there's like 4 of us, 4 of you all. I'm just here by association wearing a t-shirt. I'm not a location at all. I'm just a guy with a shirt and a camera. But we are talking about, I think, a pretty interesting subject. Yeah. It is a question we get a lot. So this one is going to be for, if you couldn't tell from the title of the episode, it's for the coaches that work in youth sports performance. It's how to talk to parents about sports performance training. It's an art, it's a science, it's agonizing at times. What other adjectives do you want to throw in there?
Tiring.
It's tiring.
Weird. So that grueling can be.
It can be tough. It could be a tough conversation, or it can be an easy conversation. It really does depend on the.
Really easy. But
it's crazy in 2025 how I think as a parent of 2, and I have an emerging jumpstart aged daughter. I obviously understand sports performance training. I work in sports performance. So, but I get it. If you don't work in sports performance and you're a parent that was born in the 90s, the 80s, or the 70s, fitness and sports performance didn't exist then.
No.
So I think we need to remember that. Sports performance didn't really exist until the early 90s. Yeah. We always talk about Bill Parisi's story. When he started doing sports performance training, it was an anomaly. You were either like Jane Fonda, Richard Simmons group exercise, right? Or Arnold Schwarzenegger bodybuilding. There was only...
Not really.
There was it. There was no sports, unless you were maybe in an Olympic training center. Yeah. Or he would go to Eastern Europe, and that was how it happened. So, it's different. It's a different landscape. And in today's world, and I'm sure this will be a topic, sports performance, people think the sport.
Yeah.
Right? Not necessarily the key components behind it.
Or the training behind it.
Yeah. So, do you want to kick it off, or do you want me to kick it off?
I can kick it off, actually.
Kick it off. Kick it off. Yeah, kick it off.
So I think automatically, one of the biggest first things is, you brought up a great point, sports-specific sports performance. That is automatically, to 85% of the parents I talk to, the same thing. Oh, my kid does soccer training 6 days a week. Great. They're not training, they're practicing soccer. Like, that is verbatim. That's it. That's all they're doing. Yeah. So I think that is a really important key piece here, just starting this conversation off, is looking at, okay, we have, sports skill, and we have true ability. And that is kind of the differentiator. And I think parents often reside into the fact of, if I have really high sports skill, I will have high skill. But the problem is that is such an inverse relationship. I have to have really high skill level to then be able to have high sports skill level. So I think that is probably one of the number one things I talk to parents about automatically, is having that availability to look at, hey, okay, what is your kid doing currently? And are they doing, or have they ever done, any type of training? Because, on the last podcast we talked about, if you get a kid that can't even do a push-up, a chin-up, a plank for 30 seconds, and you expect them to be an elite level soccer player, how can you really expect that? They have no relative body strength, and you expect them to perform at a high level. And, we'll dive into this, I'm sure, more on this podcast, but you expect them to have a low injury risk at the availability that they can't even use themselves to perform anything. Okay.
Yeah, that was really well said.
Thank you.
Because parents do either lump it together or Or, and this is, I'm going to say this, if you're watching this on video, you can see the agony in my face. The parent will tell you, my kid's blank coach works on speed.
No.
And, or my kid's blank coach does plenty of running with them. And it hurts. It hurts me because I'm sure we can all attest, like, not all training is the same.
Yeah.
Not all training is good. But that's not, to the person, it's good training.
Yeah.
And also to a parent, too, it's partially logistics, right? Like, even though they're the ones signing their kid up for this, that, and the other thing. Yeah. But why would I bring my kid to another coach and then pay another check when I can take my kid to the whatever coach, name a sport, because I've seen it in everything.
Yep.
You have.
Oh, yeah.
And do 50% of what I think is the same, and it's enough. Yeah. But it's what fits my time. So, there's the logistical side behind it. I absolutely agree with that. But, explaining just what it is really important. That's where the conversation really starts. I think the second is the safety behind it. And I do think I think it's a lot less.
Yeah.
Mostly because I think parents in the Parisi landscape, you get a lot of kids that want to excel in sports or are excelling in sports. So parents, when they see sports performance training, their coach says, you need to get faster, you need to do this and that. Parents are more on board with performance training because of that. But I know for me, this was 2011 when I first started in Parisi. We were still fighting the thoughts, the beliefs that strength training, that running was dangerous. It wasn't safe. It was going to hurt kids. And it's not true.
It's not true. At this point
it is diminishing, but it still happens.
Still there.
Right?
Yeah.
And I think a lot of it too is almost this idea of like a kid shouldn't touch weights. A kid should just be using body weights until they're 13. And that's not entirely true. I have a 6-year-old turning 7. Her backpack weighs 9 pounds.
Yeah.
She's a 9-pound backpack that she wears. She gets on but she carries it. She's very strong, 6-year-old.
Very genes.
She totally for me, 100%. But the idea, and just if you watch how kids crawl, move, carry, hang on things, climb on things, play on playgrounds, take external forces, the idea of them not being capable of some adopted version of strength training or running or jumping is insane. It's insane.
Yeah, I mean, it's a baseline, and I think two ways that I equate it really well, and this is kind of for more so the coaches and ways that I explain it, is either you wouldn't build a house without blueprints. You wouldn't build a house without a foundation. I'm not going to go throw the siding up on a house that has shoddy foundations or no structure whatsoever. That's number one. And I think, another important way to kind of phrase it, talk about it, is just basic life skills. Like, you wouldn't send your kid, you're not going to say, hey, you're 18 now, go out in the world, if they have no idea how to drive a car, count, do basic, accounting skills, which honestly most kids can't even do now. Cook, clean, like all these basic pieces that you're like, well, I got to make sure my kid has this. Why are we not thinking about them playing a sport in the same way? Oh, I got to make sure my kid can run, sprint, decel. Like, and these are not really, these are words and terms we understand, but start, stop, move, all these different pieces, and this is a personal thing. I don't love it. I don't love when coaches are like, yeah, go run out and go run 3 miles a day. Okay, great. That's awesome. I personally don't love running. I'm slowly getting into the running game. I do not love it. I do not know how to do it. I'm sorry.
It's an acquired taste.
It's an acquired suffering. It is what it is. I'm putting this on the record. It's sucking, and I don't love it. Now, however, it does have its benefits, absolutely. For sure. My problem with it is, if I now take a 15, 16-year-old that has only ever run, and they do a sprint sport, guess what? We have now trained 2 completely different energy systems, and you're now wondering why this kid cannot sprint and is sick. They're puking after they sprint. They're collapsing. They're not fast. Their mechanics are shoddy. Guess what, dude? You've spent an entire summer telling them, go run 3 miles every day. All right, coach, I'll go. I want to be on the team. I'll go run it. Yeah, well, guess what? You just shot yourself in the foot because now you are an endurance athlete. You're not a sprinter.
Creative. Well, we just did a podcast with Steve Leo, the great
GOAT.
Steve Leo, and one of my favorite Steve Leo isms is you're not training speed if you're not running fast. And
Love it.
people get so upset. I've been at a ton of Parisi, I mean, literally almost probably a dozen Parisi certifications where he will say, you're not training speed if you're not running fast. And then people will ask, well, what about tempos? Or what about this? Or sub-maximal sprinting, which is an oxymoron. Sub-maximal sprinting. So, quick shameless plug. That is episode 15. You should go back and listen to the Steve Leo episode. It's phenomenal. But yeah, I mean, it's just explaining to parents what speed training is, the safety and the science behind why it's okay, and then showing them that the workout we would do as developed adults is not the workout that a 12-year-old is going to do, let alone what you or I may do in the gym to just be functioning, aging people is not what a athlete who's aspiring to play on the state travel team or the Olympic development team or Division 2, 3, 1, whatever sports, like that is different than
Very different.
I do, right?
Absolutely.
The 1x20 workout that I do with my 56-year-old Gen Pop client after work, or the workout that I do with the 5th-year Dartmouth skier, those are two different workouts, right? They're two different bodies, they're two different capabilities, let alone the 13-year-old who's never seen a weight room doesn't know the difference between a dumbbell and a kettlebell.
Yep.
So
Absolutely.
it's important that parents appreciate when you're talking to them about sports performance, title of this podcast, that they're able to just visualize, because parents can do this, right? They have some level of experience in a weight room, that what you do isn't what your kid is going to do.
Yeah.
So you may be thinking like how dad, how you run the rack on bicep curls. Your son or daughter is not going to do that with us. Yeah. It's going to be catered more towards their age and ability, their sport demands, physical sport demands, and then just like what they can be good at in their current state of existence, right? As a 12-year-old.
Yeah. I think some of this, obviously this podcast is really geared more towards the coaches. So we can get a little more technical with it, which I'm about to, but we talk about this and talking to parents. I think one of the major things, who does this really well, and who actually has a really good visual of it, is Stan Schofield. Shout out, I'll be at Stan's facility next week, actually.
Stan Schofield, yes, number 4 maybe. I'm not sure.
He was before me.
But he
was right before.
Yeah, so go back up to Stan Schofield episode.
Just plug in.
Shameless plug.
See you in a couple of years. See you in a week. Looking forward to that lobster. And so anyway, but there's 2 ways he talks about it that I really appreciate and will be stealing. One of which is talking about the entirety of all the seasons of an athlete. Now, when we take a true, let's say, college level athlete, we have off season, we have in season, preseason, postseason. Awesome. And as a true coach's dream, I would love to truly have that. Now let's look at high school athlete. I'm playing club, 2 sports, maybe 2 club sports as well. So I now have in season, in season, in season, in season. Okay, where's my off season? Oh, I don't have one anymore. Or I have a month of off season. Okay, so like now we need to change the game, because we can't now take this, massive mesocycle program and say, here's what we're going to do. Day 1, build the foundation. Week 1, week 2, like we can't do that anymore, because now, I've got a tournament this weekend. Okay, well, we're not doing a, heavy 5x5 for you anymore. Well, okay, well, I got to switch. So there's all these different pieces you now have to switch entirely, which makes things a little tricky. So now when we look at this position, it's like, okay, well, now I need to set up, okay, we've got 1 month off here. This will be my building time. Okay, but now I'm going in season again. Okay, so, and it does have to be, like you said, it can't be cookie cutter. You can't say, everyone's going to do the same. Oh, you're 12? Okay, you go to this program, you do this. No, because that 12-year-old might have 3 months of an off season because they only like one sport. Great. Well, I'm going to do more with them because we can.
Yeah.
So as coaches, one really important piece for us, I think, when talking to parents is number 1, and this is like tried and true for everything, honesty and transparency. We got to be upfront with it, and we got to say, hey, look, your kid is doing a lot, and maybe we're recommending that you like ease off some of it. We'll get to that conversation. But we need you to understand that I'm not going to kill your kid, and we're not going to crank 100% of the time. Here's what we're going to do. You got to lay it out for them. You got to say, hey, here's kind of what I'm thinking. Here's what we need to do. But we need to be checking in like every 3-4 months because we need to make sure, A, what we're doing is working. B, we're holding you accountable. You're holding us accountable. And C, where are you at in your cycle? Oh, you just finished up with basketball club. Great. Oh, you're starting basketball club again in 2 weeks. Okay.
Cool. So you don't have an
Great.
There's no, I don't, so, and this is something, and we can just get right in, like, we can just keep going with this, because this is a good conversation to have with parents, right? Like, how do you make the recommendation? Kid comes in, they're like, okay, Mr. Lee, here's my daughter. She's super excited to train. I'm super excited to have her train. You look at the schedule, I just feel like, so what sports do you want? I tell you my kid's doing gymnastics, and she's got dance, and then she's got softball, and then she's going to do this field hockey clinic. And then you look at it and you go, how does this conversation, so how does this conversation, my kid, say she's 12, right? Okay. Say she's 8th grade, 13, 14, somewhere around there.
So 2 ways I'm going to handle that. One, I'm going to talk to the parent, and we're going to talk about, hey, scheduling wise, what does this have to look like day to day? What are off days? What are in days? What is available? That's going to give me a good build up. Then I want to talk to the athlete one-on-one. What do you actually enjoy doing? Are you being sent to, gymnastics, dance because you have to go? Or are you like, no, I love gymnastics and dance? Because you're going to get a good percent of the time where the kid's like, oh, I just really like softball. Okay, why do you do the other sports? I don't know. Dad makes me go. Okay, cool.
Yeah, or it's like a thing.
Well, that's helpful.
They've done forever.
Yeah, and they're just going to continue.
It's like, oh, my friend does it. I go with my friend.
Yeah.
No, I don't love it, but I go with my friend. So the parents
continue, yeah,
socializing. Like, oh, your friend likes it, you like it. Okay,
we're gonna go.
Yeah.
And so I think you have to challenge beliefs a little bit in this. We're probably gonna dive into, I'm sure, some of the sales pieces behind this. I love selling.
So I don't know if we'll go too much into the sales piece. That's not. We'll just talk about, like, I think it's important to how you would breach. I want us to keep it to how you would breach the conversation, because it's awkward, right?
To an extent.
In a way, I used to think it was super awkward, because it's almost like you're not parenting the parent, but you're co-parenting the kid alongside.
That's a good way to put it. Yeah.
Right? Because
that'd be a way to put it.
Well, I was 25, 26, like, your age, and I didn't have kids.
Yeah.
And then a parent comes to me and is like, yeah, my son plays on this basketball team in this state, this team in the state here, and then
Hampshire
also, and then also has a shooting coach that trains with in the morning. Why aren't you doing plyometrics with my kid?
Yeah. So I think one of the ways that, I've found beneficial is when talking with the athlete, you can gauge where we are at with the sport. So I think what becomes really important is anything under, and this is just a personal thing for me, but this is kind of where I steer most kids. When we hit like sophomore year in high school, that's where I'm like, okay, we need to start to pick the sport.
Yeah.
We're looking at, hey, it's baseball. It's baseball. We're training for baseball. We're practicing baseball, but it's just baseball. Dual sport athletes love until we hit sophomore year. Then it's like, okay, you really want to play in college? Then we need to figure it out.
But actually, if the sport is before your favorite seat, like, if you're a baseball player,
I'm playing basketball.
Maybe basketball, that should be your training time. You can still do soccer in the fall. You could do something very similar, right?
Yeah.
But you had to have a distinct period to train.
A blanket period of time, at least 3 months, that we can just dive into training. Because we'll have summer, but most kids do summer ball. So, that's, baseball specific. But, this is kind of where we're figuring stuff out. So, we take that 12-year-old, we talk to them, and we figure out, okay, hey, where are we at with everything? And then it's coming back with the parent. And I think using the evaluation is definitely a key piece, getting them in and seeing that, because you have data. It's harder to talk to a parent if you are just guesstimating and you're on the phone and like, my kid does this, my kid does that. Well, that kid might actually be really solid in baseline strength. We don't know. Or you might get a kid who's flinging around. It's like, well, it's very different. So having that evaluation and looking at it and saying, okay, I now have numbers. Okay, hey, Mr. Lee, here's all the different stuff. Hey, Sauce, she's running as a 20-yard dash, 5 seconds. That's really long. Okay, and here's why. Heel strike, no acceleration. She's standing up when she's just in over my years of coaching, very beginning stages, I would say I was really technical when talking to parents. Now, it was actually a good thing. It just took such a long time. So I don't like fully recommend it, but it is not a bad place to start because you can dwindle down. It's better than being like, she runs slow.
Full dissertation.
Yeah, it was a lot. It was a lot,
brother.
But as you know, like giving that, it does build trust pretty quickly because they're like, oh wow, you actually told me
does
before.
for sure.
And what's going to happen is they're going to be like, oh my God, I see that. She does run on her heels. She does run goofy. Like, you're going to see that. Now, I know you know this, but coaches that maybe are not or getting into the youth, you are going to be really surprised about, like, how quickly a parent will just absolutely diss their kid right in front of them.
Yeah.
And it is absolutely brutal sometimes to the point where you're like, stop talking. Like the kid is just like,
yeah. It's the point where
you're like, wow.
So
okay.
this is a quick aside.
Yeah.
I know you guys have a water fountain.
Yeah.
I used to, when I would start explaining the evaluation to parents, I would ask another coach to walk a kid down the hall. It was a long walk. Walk a kid down the hall to the water fountain so that I could explain to the parent, like either specifically the running, like the 10, the 20, the running analysis. I wanted to explain that to the parent without. And if the parent was like, oh, well, shouldn't so-and-so? I'm like, well, I explained it while I was doing it with the kid.
Yeah.
But also, they just did it. No, you know.
Yeah, you need to.
They're good. They're going to drink. We're going to talk about it.
That's a good idea.
The jumps are a lot easier to explain.
And you don't get, like...
It's not, it's not the Parisi jump school. It's the Parisi speed school. So people are really, I think, more times than not coming for a running evaluation.
Yeah.
I got to the point where I would have interns of, like, walk the kids down the hallway to separate parents because of the things they would say.
It's tough.
It's really tough.
Because you're standing there and you're like, dude, this suit.
Yeah.
Like, I get, like, ripping on you. Like, fun ripping on your kid. Like, my mom rips on me a lot, but, like, it is like, oh my God, you are terrible. And the kid's just like...
It is just mortified.
Yeah. So, like, that's rough. But good idea with the water fountain thing. We might start implementing that. But I think, getting really technical with it builds a little bit of that trust, and it lets us impart that knowledge of why we're doing what we're doing to the parent early on. Because if you can tell the parent, hey, when you hear heel strike, here's what it does, ground to head. Here's what happens through the system when your kid heel strike. Boom, boom, boom. Oh yeah, she was complaining about some patella tendonitis pain. Okay, well, here's maybe why, that heel strike, and just explaining all these pieces. Then you can start to say, here's why we're concerned with this. She's doing gymnastics, dance, club soccer, regular soccer, softball, all these different things. That's a lot for a kid. Okay, have you noticed maybe she's like super tired, and just starting to ask some questions, engaging, hey, where are we at? Oh yeah, 3 o'clock in the day, she just crashes. Okay, well, maybe she's not eating enough, maybe she's not drinking enough water, maybe she's burned out, man. Like, having that discrimination in that baseline data to then talk to the parent and start that process. Because if we wanted to truly say what we wanted to say in that very first interaction, parents like, yeah, sayonara, dude. Like, yeah, you just want us to be here the whole time to train. Yeah, screw you, we're gone. It just doesn't work. But, like, if we get their foot in the door, hey, you're doing stuff, at least let's come 2 times a week. And then they're here, they're training, they see the product, they're like, oh man, wow, yeah, saw she's making a lot of head. She's faster, she's moving, like, this looks really good. We start to hit that in-season period. Oh, I think we're going to duck out for 3 months because, we're going in-season. Great. We totally can do that. But we can also maybe keep it to like 1 time a week, maybe every other week. Here's why. And then just giving the data. Data about, their sport, injury risks, things like that, all the different pieces that we know. ACL tears are still, this is high school athletes, but we're still on the rise with those. We now have this is a far, probably longer conversation, but we now have the Bayer implants for ACL tears, which is super interesting, and I think that's a whole different topic. But we're now starting to look at deceleration, stopping, and that eccentric loading because of this, which is great. Hate that it's taken us this long, but those are pieces that we can start to have a conversation. Hey, we're going into soccer season. Maybe let's just continue to train. And here's what in-season training looks like. We're maintaining. We're not doing max effort sprinting all the time because your kid's sprinting in soccer practice 5 days a week. Telling them the detraining of sprinting. Hey, if your kid's going to play, I don't know, golf, and they're not coming in to train, they're not sprinting anymore, and then they're going to go to a sprint sport. Like, if we take a week off of sprinting, we are now atrophying that muscle tissue, not muscle tissue in itself
Follow.
slowly. But looking at, hey, we're losing speed because you are now taking the time off from this. So I think having that beginning stage lets us start to talk about this. But you also got to know what you're talking about.
And it is, like you talk about giving detail.
Yeah.
I think sometimes people forget that we are the expert and people are coming to us for our expert opinion, right? And I think it's a flip for the parent. And this is bringing it to what the topic of the episode is. Parents sometimes think they're coming in to bring their kid to a workout.
Yeah.
It's like the kid version of a group exercise class. You go to a spin class, you show up, you register in advance, you grab your headphones, you get on the bike, and you take the spin class, and you leave. And it's incredibly transactional. But in a service-based industry like we are, we're service providers. It's an intimate service. We're getting to know a kid, their sports, why they're training, like we talked about. I think coaches, we need to remember that it's expected and it's okay to give our recommendation as professionals, right? If I do this with adults when they come in for training. What does the rest of your exercise program look like? Yeah. Where can we fill in the gaps? Oh, well, I was really just coming in. I was hoping to just get some awesome workouts. That's not what this is. That's not what this is, right? A kid comes in. I was just thinking my kid was going to go through. No. We are here to see, because it matters, right? Like, we can't just give you a workout without knowing what your other demands are, or what you're capable of, or what sport you want to play it at, what level you're hoping to play it at. Yeah. Speed training for a kid who's just looking to make a team, or right, like I think of the really young kids, because I have one. I just want my daughter to go to dance and not trip over her feet.
Yeah.
I don't need her to be this, Sean Johnson on the gymnastics beam. I just need her to go and not get swallowed up by the gymnastics beam by trying to walk across it. Yeah. Like, I just need her to have a little bit more physical capabilities to have a better time, because that's confidence. I don't need her to be all state, right? Yeah. She may want that. That's cool for her. But, it's important for us as parents to find out what the parents are expecting to get out of it, like you're saying. And we need to be able to do that by being technical, by asking these questions, like you're saying, having the conversations, because it's not a transaction. It's not you signed up for a class, do the class, right? It's a little more oomph to it. There's a little more depth to what we do in sports performance that maybe is different than
I think
is parents expect.
I think two pieces to touch on there I think are important. One, I think as a parent, your number one, a good parent, even a decent parent, your number one goal is safety of your kids. Sure. Like, that's bare minimum. That's it.
I mean, I would think any parent, even if you're not the greatest. I hope.
I met a couple.
You're typically pretty concerned with the safety of your kid.
So we'll say anything above like terrible parent, But that's, base foundation is that. And then I think a second piece, what you were touching on is really good. It's the value of what we do. It's not just, hey, you're coming in to rip a workout. It's, hey, we're going to talk to you about your nutrition. We're going to talk to you about, how you are doing, not the kid, but the parent as well. We want to gather as much information as possible, because as we know as professionals, everything impacts training. Mental stress, physical stress, outside stress, like all these pieces impact your nutrition, your hydration, your sleep, your recovery, like all these different pieces now factor into what we do. We don't have the luxury of a college strength conditioning program where I can talk to the head coach and I can talk to the dietitian and I can talk to their teachers, because we all operate in the same facility, and they can tell me, hey, he's doing good, he's not so good, he's doing good. Then I know if he comes in, it's just off day. But if I get a kid that comes in here and they seem off, I've got to start to go through the laundry list. Okay, hey, how's school going? Okay, that's okay. Hey, did you break with your girlfriend? Okay, no, that's okay. Hey, what's this? Did you sleep? Did you eat? Whatever. We don't get the luxury of pulling up that readiness screen from the coaches and saying, oh yeah, before practice he was good. Oh, okay, you just didn't get sleep. That's what it is. That's a little trickier in the private sector because we don't have that luxury. And so now as coaches, to really give the value. And if you're good in this industry, you want to give a ton of value by helping, by being able to say, hey, let's help you with your nutrition, your hydration. Let's figure out your sleep. Let's figure out your mental stuff. Let's get your confidence up there. Yeah, we'll do all the performance stuff because we kill it with that. But we give you a ton of extra value because we're building that character. We're building you as a better person so that, hey, when you graduate college, you're not beat down and broken looking for a physical therapist because you got 2 bad knees. Maybe we got some bumps and bruises along the way, and yeah, maybe some things happen. We can't prevent everything. And I don't even like the word prevent, but we can't mitigate everything. But what we can do is we can set you up really, really well so that now you're that functional adult long term. And you're not coming to one of us at 52 being like, well, I had 3 hips replaced. I got a labral tear. My back screwed up. Back in my day, I could bench 405. But my shoulders bum. Like, well, what happened? Yeah, I just had some bad coaches. Everyone's had a bad coach. Yeah. Everyone's had a bad coach or a couple. Like, good ones in this industry. Like, we don't want to be that. So how do we go above and beyond and we over deliver with the value? It's all those added pieces. So when you're first talking with that parent, you really have to set the tone of, hey, we are different. Here's why. We're not just going to take your kid in and rip a workout. Here's all the stuff we're looking at. Here's the program. Here's what we're doing. We have multi-directional, linear speed, strength days. Here's what it looks like at this age bracket. Here's what we're making sure we're checking in with your kid. We're looking at hydration, sleep, recovery, all these different pieces. Hey, when they hit their high school years, here's all the extra stuff we're going to do for you. And, like I said, we can dive into, how we price that, how we market that, all those different pieces, different podcasts. But at like net minimum, you have to do those things because it makes you a better coach, makes you a better facility, but B, it gets you better results in the long term. Because in the private sector, I hate to say it, but if we're not getting results,
you're a good client.
We're screwed. Like, we're out the door because work travels fast, man. Yeah. Especially in Vermont. Like, maybe you get away with it in bigger cities. I don't know. I've never operated in one. But in Vermont, like, we get one bad call, dude, that's 10 clients, and those 10 tell 100, and those 100 tell 1,000. Yeah. And we are cascading down. So we don't have the luxury to have any bad calls. So you really got to make sure, like, A, you're nipping that in the bud, but, like, you are really looking into that, and you're like, you are just dialing in and saying, hey, we're locked in on everything. We're looking at everything because this is our job. We are that support system giving you, I don't want to say professional level training, but close to some type of professional level training for no matter what you want to do. You want to play high level varsity and then you want to go to college to be an engineer? Awesome. Let's teach you all this stuff so you can go train and you can be a healthy person. Yeah. You want to go play Olympic level bobsledding? Awesome. Let's train you for that. We'll get you ready for the team. We'll hook it up. Let's go. We can match you, but you gotta tell us where you're at.
Yeah. Yeah. It's definitely there's a lot of ways to go about the conversation with parents. It's important for us as sports performance coaches to do it, to have the conversation, like you're saying, to deliver what we're trying to do. But the most important thing is you have to start. You have to do it.
Yeah.
Right. You can't just be trained.
You're gonna suck in the beginning.
It is awkward, but it is something that matters, especially with working with kids, because that's a lot of people want to get into working with kids and training athletes. This is probably the least sexy part of it, right? You have to deal with the parent side of it and parents having questions and concerns and things like that. But I appreciate you sharing your insight because I know you do it every day. So no one better to bring in that's going to talk about it fresh, who's going to do it in a couple hours after this recording ends.
Yeah.
Appreciate you, man.
Rock on.
Thank you.